Ashes. I guess the biggest talking point, of course, was Marcus Harris into squad, Peter Handscomb out.
And Mitch Marsh in.
Yeah, Mitch Marsh in, yes.
Kuhneman missed out. Todd Murphy in.
I kind of made...
We're doing good off the top of our heads.
Yeah. No, Kuhneman made a little bit of sense because...
he only really went over there as the third.
Well, he's
fourth, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. So he's going to be behind Nathan Lyon and Todd Murphy anyway, and they're probably only going to play Nathan Lyon.
Yeah, over there that'll be interesting, isn't it? Because you'd imagine the Murph, as good as he's been, it'd be really only
all the steam.
It'd really only be Lyon being unfit. You'd think would see Murph go in.
Yeah,
and stranger things have happened.
Yeah. Well, again, depends on what deck turns up.
There could be one where they go with the two spinners.
Yeah, they think it's going to spin a lot, but I think most of the cases is like who can bowl swing, who's going to be our best seamers. It'll be the quick bowlers that'll get the lot there.
So on that, you've got Pat Cummins, obviously, and then Stark, Hazelwood, Scobo, Scott Boland. Michael Neser missing out, which I thought was a little interesting because he's very... accustomed to English conditions, played a little bit of county cricket, and he gets a bit of swing playing for Queensland up here, so maybe a little bit unlucky for Neser to miss out.
Do you think they're just so locked in because they've got Cameron Green that gives them an option?
That gives you a fifth quick option.
And they're already kind of fighting over will it be Boland, will it be Hazelwood?
I just think when we look at that squad, I would have thought maybe there's a spot for Neser, but we'll go through the squad, and obviously you've only got a limited number of bums that you can put on the seat.
Yes.
So Pat Cummins, skipper, Scott Boland, Alex Carey, Cam Green, Marcus Harris. We have to talk about Marcus Harris, the anointed one from the Australian selectors. Keeps getting the opportunities. He did have a very good Shield season.
Did Bancroft... Going back to that, have a better Shield season?
Bring that up, Mugs. We'll have a look at the runs in the Sheffield Shield. So Bancroft, we spoke highly of his Shield cricket, but his return from Sandpaper Gate and being able to go and join the boys in India would have been quite vindicating for him. But then, misses out on this side, and essentially it's Harris and Renshaw probably that's keeping him out of it at the moment. Yeah,
and I don't know. Again, Renshaw probably had a very dismal India tour and didn't have a great.
Shocking.
Yeah, didn't get a lot of great opportunities in the South Africa warm up as well. So I think Peter Handscomb probably hard done by, and whether Bancroft, I think he's over there playing county cricket at the moment. So whether they could have looked his way. Did you get some stats? Or are you still working on it?
No, he scored 945 Shield runs, which was leaps and bounds ahead of second. So what more is he meant to do? And when I say leaps and bounds, like 300 runs than Daniel Drew, who was second.
What was Marcus Harris?
Bring it up, Monks. Can you bring up should we go view all stats? Yeah, you should be able to see Marcus Harris, who I believe had a reasonable Shield season. Whilst Monks looks that up, we'll go through the rest of the names. Hazelwood was going to be a lock. Josh Inglis going to be the backup gloveman, which is nice to see. Uzi, Marnus, Nathan Lyon. That's strong, isn't it? Through K&L there. Mitchell Marsh, call back into the Australian Test squad, was essentially had some of the worst numbers ever for a number 6. I'm not sure when it comes to red ball cricket, but we've seen what he's been able to do in the white ball formats over the last few years. Do
you think it's purely just Cam Green cover?
I think so. Yeah, I think Cam Green is our locked in number 6.
Yeah, they give a sort of like for like with body type and what they kind of deliver, but
although Marsh hasn't been bowling much recently.
Yes, and hasn't really done much in red ball format for hitting a ball either. So, and his IPL form at the moment is not great to follow on with that. So, he's a bit of head scratcher. So Jimmy's pulled up the Shield stats. So Harris was there, only played 9 matches, did get 600. What was he averaging? 37.
37.5. 2 tons.
What I find interesting, if you scroll up that list to see Peter Handscomb, who had played only 6 matches, got 600 and was averaging 70. Doesn't make
hard done by the old foot brush. Also kind of saved our ass in India a few times. Now, yes, horses for courses. They say he's a good player of spin. but you'd think would have done enough to retain at least a spot on the plane.
Yeah. I would have thought so too. Like over the guy he already replaced, which was Renshaw. I would have thought that made more sense. And like we said, Bancroft was heads above everyone else on
the 300 runs ahead.
Average
made
60,
4 tons.
And average 60 from 20 innings as well. So
Hard done by there, Bancroft. The rest of the squad, Todd Murphy is going to go over as a second spinner. What a story that's been. Matt Renshaw, we just spoke about it. If he does get an opportunity, which would only really be from injury, you'd think. Hopefully, for his sake, he can take it. Smudge, Starkey, and David Warner. Now, Warner's going to have a heap of pressure.
I had two questions on this squad. First one is, does David Warner retain an opening spot, or do you go with Travis Head? Because I guess the question is, the way Head kind of plays is kind of like what young Warner was. So
aggressive.
There is kind of a little bit of a like for like there. And is, I guess, Head the anointed to take that spot when David Warner does retire in maybe a couple of years, or is he forced into retirement earlier?
It could be sooner than a few years.
Because if you don't play him as an opener, where does Davey fit in? Does he then switch spots? Does he then play 5 where Head was? Does that make sense?
I think my feeling is that Warner will retain his opening spot, and for everything that he's done for Australian cricket, probably justified so. But yeah, if you take out that 200 at the MCG, the form in Test cricket is close to horrendous. Yes. And on top of that, his career form in English conditions, not great. Yeah. Stuart Broad.
I was going to say, check his record against Stuart Broad.
Yeah, hasn't really.
I've seen some of the vision
compelling viewing
of Broad playing county cricket at the moment, and that ball is moving all over the place. He knocked Bancroft over for a duck, I think, the other day. So yeah, Stuart Broad in great form, which doesn't bode well for Warner. Well, maybe that's a conversation. Do you protect him a little bit from Jimmy Anderson, Stuart Broad, with the new ball, and you send out Travis Head instead and bring him in later?
I don't know if that's going to do anything for his
confidence.
Yeah, yeah. If that's the justification,
I don't know. Do you not pick him?
There's a lot of Aussies that I've seen in the comments who really, for whatever reason, like to hate on David Warner, and it seems to be a bit of a narrative that a lot of people think that his time's done. I don't share that view.
Yeah, I would have said if they'd brought Handscomb, who played 5 in India, I would have retained that, like that the last 2 games. I probably would have retained that kind of top order batting lineup. I would have been happy with that going into England, backing off that form. Maybe give Handscomb a chance to lock down that 5th spot, and Head, who played pretty well in those last 2, scoring good runs as an opener. Maybe can he cement that spot for himself as well, considering how well he's played.
Just
outside of the subcontinent. Well, just in general, he's been elite. And, maybe David Warner misses out. But the fact is, the only other batsmen they've taken is probably Marcus Harris and Renshaw. Then, no, I wouldn't put either of those in there. That's fifth spot. So maybe it's a easier, safer option for it to be Davey open and play Head at 5. What do you found anything interesting there, Jimmy?
Yeah, amongst the old house stat, he's got the overall scores for Davey Warner versus England.
Yeah, it's probably not really relevant. It's a while ago since they played in England.
What are the columns there, Jimmy?
I need some runs somewhere. Yeah, because
matches, innings, how does me? There you go, runs.
There you go. Maybe if you make this full screen, it should open it up a lot more.
That's not full screen. Yeah. That's not full screen either.
We got some Spitfire. Is that what they are, Spitfires?
Yeah, Spitfire and a Hurricane, I think.
Jimmy loves his planes.
Here we go. The fastest research man when he's on.
Oh, he's trying to work out that Red Bull. Scroll.
There we go.
So that
maybe scroll down
because it's reverse order.
There we go. So the last time that Davey was over there in England, this is his scores: 11, 5, 0, 0, 0. 61, 5, 3, 8, 2. Not good reading. That that 2019 Ashes.
Yeah. What do you got there? You got Broad, Robinson, Wood, Broad,
Archer,
Anderson, Stokes.
It's mostly Broad.
Archer, Broad, Archer.
Yeah, it's mostly Stewie Broad.
I guess the one good thing for us is Archer hasn't been playing much IPL at the moment. Still dealing with his injuries.
I think he's back.
Yeah, well, let's hope he's not too far back. It's Broad and Anderson's nothing. I don't want Archer as well.
Their pace stocks over there are pretty nuts. Go back to 2015 Ashes.
Yeah, right there. Anderson, Ali,
so, but much better numbers overall.
Stokes. Yeah, but no Broad.
No, that's true. And still no tons, but respectable. 52, 38, 83, 77. And then 2011 Ashes over there. Was he in that? No. 13. I think I've quick maths fucked myself as usual. 541, 371, 6.
Well, there's Broad 3 12. There in a row. It's Broad.
So never has a ton in England. Would love to see it.
Yeah. So then the other question is, who's the quick do you take? Do you take Hazelwood or Boland? Who's in your starting?
Hazelwood, I think, has to be for me.
I feel Boland in England conditions.
So you're saying Stark's a lock?
Yeah, again, we've had that conversation. Starks offers the difference.
Yep, yeah.
He's just different from, Cummins, Hazelwood are very similar, and Boland's...
You got a left, quick, can scare the fuck out of you with bounces.
Exactly.
In swinging Yorker when he's
Stark's been good in India. Like, you got to... After Paddy went home, and he essentially was the only fast bowler that did any bowling, he in his limited work there was pretty good. So I think maybe Boland, who bowls like a heavier ball, like that's just the way he bowls just seems like he delivers a heavier kind of impacting ball. Maybe that'll have some difference in the swing over there in England. Whether in that conditions you can get a bit more movement. I'd be interested to at least try him and say game one and see what he can, whether he can give you any of that. And if not, you've always got Hazelwood as backup to potentially come in here. Because I think you've seen Hazelwood and what he probably delivers. Boland's a bit of an unknown, and maybe that's something you want to have a look at and see whether you can do.
There is a world where all four quicks can play as well.
True.
But time will tell. The other thing is, the tactics that they take in terms of the lineup for the World Test Championship final against India.
True, that's up first.
Yeah, might be slightly different towards the tactics that they take for England. But we got, 6 weeks to think about it. So we've only really got the 17-man squad, and we'll definitely start talking a bit more sort of Ashes and World Test Championship sort of early June.